Hello, I'd like to share some real facts about what it's like being an artist, 47 years old in Detroit, Southeast Michigan, the state of Michigan, number one bully capital of the country usually. Um, it's since the 70s, I've seen, as everyone else has, a lot of changes in our country and in the world. A lot of things you just never would have imagined we'd have come to. And one of the great strange contradictions I've noticed is that having dreamed and dreamed to go to art school and be in the arts throughout grade school and high school, where I nearly was killed, along with a black fellow student friend of mine in my neighborhood. Um, we were horribly beaten and attacked, broken bones, and more. Um, from there on, all of the negativity I have witnessed bouncing back and forth between white, black, Hispanic, Muslim, Christian, you name it. We've got a web of hatred, of human hatred here in Southeast Michigan. And I really don't want to let anyone off the hook because I've experienced it from everybody, women, men. Everyone's pointing their finger, and it's a microcosm for the general world situation today and in our country, but I think throughout the world, where there's just so much finger pointing, so much posing. The Smollett, what I call it, the Jussie Smollett kind of thing as well, where people will go so far as to even stage fake attacks and stage victimhood and whatnot, to get all kinds of respect and opportunities. And I have seen that so much, and I have seen real victims. And this is what really gets me, is seeing and experiencing being a real victim. And then in the news and in the media, you've got all these other players. So here is an email I just received yesterday. I just noticed it now. Yesterday was December 6th, the great December 6th insurrection day of bullshit morons. I assume that this person is kind of aligned with that movement. I have a George Floyd painting that has been shown on Craigslist now for a couple years, and I do have it for sale. I have many works for sale on Craigslist over the years and services. I've received many threats all across the board from all different, nationalities and racial backgrounds of people. I assume these people are white because they really hate this painting. They hate that I'm listing it on Craigslist. And this is Ann Arbor, Michigan, which is generally more liberal. And I've been trying to list it over there because I thought, well, maybe, I'll find some of these liberal people, because I have been just so abused with emails. I've got so many I could go through here. And you can see below it's listed in Ann Arbor, and this person is, obviously figured out that I live in Hamtramck inside of Detroit, and they're like, this doesn't even belong here, and, swearing, calling me some horrible names. And I'm pretty sure this person is related, friends with, or the same person as another email I got the same day, just 2 hours after this one. And he has been writing me for several months now. Every time I renew the ad on Craigslist, it goes up to the top, and I renewed it yesterday morning, I believe. So I got a fresh round. These people sit on Craigslist. And I found this not just with this person, but many. They freaking sit on Craigslist, literally. And as soon as you renew your ads, they are on you. And I've had ads taken down. by these kinds of abusers. I don't know how they get it done, but they end up flagging my stuff if they can get enough people, their friends, to do it. So you can see this is, pretty intense email. I think this definitely breaks the law. I'm definitely going to be talking to police about this stuff. Again, I've contacted police over the years about many horrible threats I've had through Craigslist and unwanted emails. So I'm not even going to read this one. You can read it, everything that it says. And you can see at the top of my email here, this is in response to George Floyd portrait painting that's about 4 foot by 4 foot. And you're going to get a privy look at my inbox here. But here's another response from yesterday. This is the person, I don't know if he's the same person, and he's trying to play off that this is 2 different people responding to me and threatening me within 2 hours. But I got tired of this guy here emailing me every time I renewed, so I sent him below. You can see a response to the email before this one. I say, tell that to your friends in jail. Police will be knocking on your door someday, bitch. And, I know that sounds, threatening, I guess, in a way, but it's true. I'll get the police on his ass. And I assume it's a guy. And, leave this stuff alone. I don't understand on the internet forums, and there's a lot of examples I could go through just from the last month where I posted and shared on Facebook, internet groups and stuff, why people can't walk on by. If it's something that you don't like, you don't find an interest in, leave, or leave a small general comment showing that you're a dumbass. Don't threaten people. Don't, try to put down people, and leave it at that, but it's just impossible. People are waging war over Craigslist, and they're not coming out from under their rocks. And so this guy goes on to say in this email, why would police do that? What do you think I've done to have the police knock on my door? Because I say it like it is? I've watched the full video and have done my research. Have you? If you have and still feel he should be revered, then I think you're delusional. So accusing others of what you're guilty of, this person has consistently written me for months now, every time I renew the George Floyd painting, tells me why this person shouldn't be depicted in a painting. And makes it sound like he's somewhat level-headed, but he's obviously not. This person obviously cannot stop replying, cannot stand that this painting is on Craigslist, has got serious issues, obviously, and they're on Craigslist waiting for any little spark of something to react to. And of course, I don't know who this person is. They don't leave any information. This is anonymous replies for the most part on Craigslist. I am pretty sure that if I go to police, they'll be able to find out who these people are. But that's just, shows you just one aspect of what it's like being an artist and just trying to share your work. If it's a political idea that someone doesn't like, then they, like I said, they need to learn to walk on by. I'm going to go back to my inbox and show you something else here. Here is another email I got at the beginning of December by an abuser who was an ex-employer of mine, and a group of artists who have got a space down the block from us, a gallery, quote unquote, where they give each other shows, they make insider trading deals, they bring people in from other areas and prop them up, give them opportunities, set them up to win grants, and then they're out of the area. It's very disheartening. And I would call these people like Smoletti artists. You know, they're like always working to make themselves seem like they're on the cusp or on the pulse of contemporary happenings, contemporary issues, and it's bullshit. These people are promoting themselves, coming to an area where they're not even from Wayne County, most of them, like I said, and they're coming to our area and propping themselves to say that they live in Detroit or that they work in Detroit, that they're an artist from Detroit. So we haven't been on this public pool gallery email list for over 7 years or 8 years. We had ourselves taken off. My wife and I were both artists, and we got fed up with this clique of arts community. Detroit is such a vacuum. There's so much that goes on with people who implant themselves and just kind of take advantage of the situation. There's a deer in the headlights effect here. When someone shows up with some money or some interest in our area, they really get the red carpet treatment. While many of us who have been here a long time trying to get something going from the grassroots up are seen as rock the boaters or something like that. You know, it's a real issue here. So this public pool gallery in the middle of Detroit has, gosh, I wouldn't even say 3% people of color or 3% people who actually were born and raised in Wayne County. You know, Detroit has become such the last 20 plus years has become such a stamp to put on your resume. And you can go across the world and there's bars called Detroit and restaurants called Detroit now, clubs called Detroit, and when you go into them, it's supposed to be like you're here or something. And meanwhile, you know, there's so many artists like myself and others who, born and raised here, don't get, you know, any kind of career that's handed to them. I haven't had anything handed to me per se. I have fought hard, worked hard, and come up against a lot of angry, nasty people of all. So this public pool sent us, my wife and I, to our emails, and probably other members of our family, this email about the show Faces. And remember, I've got a portrait of George Floyd on Craigslist for a few years now that I've got over 30 negative emails about, at least, and fake offers to buy and stuff. You can see the first name up here below Faces, Mary Fortuna. I've talked about her in other videos and whatnot. She was a boss of mine, of the education department at Paint Creek Center for the Arts in Rochester, Michigan. And this was in the middle of the OOs. I was working at other art centers, and I still privately tutor for the most part. I found that to be more to my liking. But she offered me an opportunity to work at her art school as well, or where she was working at the time, and said she would fight for me and whatnot. And this was all while I was teaching at Birmingham Bloomfield Art Center in Birmingham, Michigan. And when I did start teaching there in Rochester, oh, it was hell. She just was a horrible person, control freak. And had my mail opened, accused me of improper relationships with an adult student of several years who later I found out was in art school at Wayne State with her and had issues with her ever since the 80s. Lots of red flags, stuff that shouldn't be brought up when you're teaching students and adults, if it is, it should be brought up in a responsible way. And when there's an investigation, uh, facts should be presented and apologies should be made if there's, you know, if your accusations are wrong. And it hasn't stopped. This was 15 years ago or so. We're getting emails from her about her show. She doesn't even live in this area anymore. She moved up to northern Michigan because when I was in her car once, she drove me by her house in Royal Oak, which was totally inappropriate, a house she got from her parents and then later lost somehow. I told her about the work I was doing up north. Our family has had a cottage there for a few generations, and we've gone back and forth between Traverse City and Detroit for many decades. And I have a ton of work I've created up there as well as here. And I told her about things I was working on, places I loved up there. A few years later, she, quote unquote, retires. Our local arts community, quote unquote, gives her a send off, but she never leaves. She's up there cementing her place amongst the market there, getting other people involved, making insider trading arrangements. And she's here in Detroit also, down the block from us. And she knows I don't want her communicating with myself or my family. But she had her gallery friends email me and my family about the show Faces, where I arguably think that she's making fun of myself with one of the images. This is the main image that she chose out of all her dolls and masks and things to share. And they got like this voodoo doll. This is more like a mask, obviously, but she's got a lot of like voodoo doll type stuff. To each their own. I really feel that way. But when someone keeps trying to bounce off of you, claiming false victimhood, and continually doing things that really don't even belong in junior high or high school, but that's the kind of way they're acting. This Mary Fortuna is at least 10, 15 years older than me. I said I'm 47. And there is so much I can say about this gallery and this woman and the art community here. I've tried to share stuff in other posts, and a lot of it I think goes over people's heads. But this is a cruel group. Not only are they like I said, in Detroit and showing themselves, not doing anything with the community, but they act like they are doing stuff for the community. And here I am, within a month's time, I'm receiving death threats for a George Floyd painting I did that no one wants to show here. And at the same time, I'm getting unwanted emails, jokes, gang-like, moronic interactions with these people from this gallery and our surrounding area that have linked up with them. 98% of them white and from outside of Wayne County, here to give themselves props. And the person who's been running this gallery for a few years now, Allison Snyder, has been stalking all of my social media for many years. I've had to play whack-a-mole with her. I never had a communication with her per se. Don't know who she is. This is all stuff that has been bent up by the community, quote unquote. And they've indoctrinated people, and they give them rewards like this for attacking myself and others. This Allison Snyder has attacked me on the public network because I still am trying to out people parking in the fire hydrant space in front of her house constantly, people taking advantage of handicap spaces on our street, bazillion kinds of commercial trucks, vehicles all throughout our town and on our street in an abusive manner, taking up spaces. Some people have like 3 cars and 6 vans, and um, I have a lot of documentation on this stuff. And so this Allison Snyder comes onto the public network and berates me. She tells me I'm going to have a hard life, quote unquote, and I have this documented because I'm outing, effectively because I'm outing abuse in our area. I mean, we have got so many Trumpers here on our block, racist abusers, and she's, in the end, sticking up for them. And these people are, and she gave herself a show this fall in September. This lady, Allison Snyder, got her own show, one-person show. And I have seen some of her work online, and it's mediocre. I mean, it's just not, something that really catches my eye or interest. She's obviously trying really hard to be an arts ruler here, and there's been several of them. And they think it's a path and a shortcut by attacking me and bouncing off me and my efforts. 47 years old. I won all the scholarships in our area and got some notoriety, and boy, does that bring anger and hatred in our area. Not only from fellow artists, but family members, friends. People just cannot deal with the success of, and even if you want to call it success, I mean, when you actually end up using your talents and people start to pay attention, or you get opportunities, boy, I've just noticed over the decades that, man, it brings out jealousy, especially here. Because people think you're not working here. They think the arts is, la-di-da, la-di-da, you're just having a good time, and it's such bullshit. I mean, not only do I have to face these people, a corrupt arts community, self-serving and false-faced, mask-wearing arts community, but I've got to face KKK, white supremacist assholes. I got to face every other type of racism that there is. Racism is a human problem all over the world throughout time. Slavery was a human problem all over the world throughout time. And we got to stop this. Just stop this finger pointing and false-faced behavior. And I want people to understand this is bullshit. Jack White, and I've made a post about him. This guy is bullshit. Eminem is bullshit. Kid Rock is a fucking bullshit motherfucker. Excuse my French. But these people make money off of you. Okay? A year ago, Eminem came out with Music to be Murdered By Part 1 and 2. And the same year, at the end of the year, he's got a spaghetti business restaurant / business that he's affiliated with. It isn't just his business, but the New York Times has just reviewed it. It was all over local news. And then right after that, there's a insane mass shooting here. And everyone in the country most likely heard about the mass shooting in Oxford nearby. That's only a half hour from here in Detroit, or less. The parents, as most people know, fled Oakland County, fled Rochester, Michigan, and hid with money, cash. Who knows if they had guns, but they hid in an arts building here in Detroit. And we're still waiting to hear if the quote unquote artist who had a loft there, and one of the most evil businesses attached, parasitic businesses attached to the arts, is interior decorating. And he had an interior decoration company out of that loft as well, pumping out a bunch of crap. So these parents hid inside of this building, and thankfully were found. I'd like to know who owns the building. I've seen pictures of it. I probably know or have known the investors in that building. But, and that's a whole nother thing, the arts building BS of our area the last 20 plus years. There's so many people flipping these buildings, and they're using artists. And there's another situation right now where a famous man from a famous family, he's from Europe, but he was in California, and he started an artist building there and whatnot, supposedly. Sells pieces of art for $50,000 each. He's got a building here in Detroit now filled with homeless people, one of whom I know very well, a longtime model in our area. And these people are huddled in this building under the guise that this is an arts community building, that this is something that's going to, revolutionize our area. And, this is something that none of us regular people could get away with. We'd be in trouble with the law. Anyone who shows up with money in our area, like I said, there's this deer in the headlights thing that goes on where people just here get blinded by someone with money who comes to our area. They're just down on their knees, Oh yeah, like the Dan Gilbert, Trump's buddy. Boy, he must have got so much hipster pussy here. I mean, and he courted all the artists, or so many of them, and I mean, he did. I can't go through it all right now, but he did so many things that were so blatantly fucking elitist, And he used the arts as a cloak. And that just continues. I'm just so sick of it. And you get people like this in gallery, quote unquote, gallery arts community groups in our neighborhood now who create a status quo, an elitist situation, give themselves shows and their buddies shows, and the people that they lure into the city for a while shows. Grants, sales, connections. And a lot of us here who, fought our way up the hard way, we have to submit ourselves to this hierarchy of BS. And I'm sorry for all the swearing in this video, but I have to vent a little bit. I'm just, I'm not giving up ever, but this is ridiculous. These people shouldn't be allowed to attack others, shouldn't be allowed to utilize Craigslist for their nasty aims, shouldn't be allowed to utilize galleries for their nastiness. This needs to stop. Police need to take, and our society need to take better steps towards ending poor behavior in a variety of ways, through the legal system, through community awareness, through the news. There are a lot of ways to do it. These people succeed because of the vacuum, because no one really cares unless you're a rich person here. Bottom line. half of Eminem's peeps that buy his music are Trumper kids. More than 50% are white. I'm white too. So he refuses to alienate that business. Kid Rock, gosh, 80% of his following has got to be Trumper, white, conservative. You know, how can you do that and make rock and roll albums? I'll never understand that. And I know there are a lot of Michigan rockers who have a conservative edge, and I don't even want to get into it because it's so sad right now. But there are even some of my heroes over time, I'm like, oh, I cannot believe they are conservative, and they made such amazing music that rocked the boat. Yet today, they won't rear their head out from under their rocks, literally. And if they do, it's just so reeking of fakeness. So here's just some of my evidence. There's a half hour already of this, and I don't really edit my videos, so I'll probably get hate mail for this too, and hate comments as well. But hey, I got to put out the evidence. I got to show you the real thing. I'm not just talking. These people are bullies, whether it's extreme fake lefties, extreme uptight butt-packed righties, boring in the middles who don't give a care about anything in general. I've seen it all. There's a whole spectrum of people out there who aren't contributing in a positive way to human evolution and to the earth. And I hope to God that you're outed